Oh, the Grand Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill and he marched them down again. And when they were up, they were up. And when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway up, they were neither up nor down. Now, that is a nursery rhyme about the Grand Old Duke of York, if you remember during those days. And so the Grand Old Duke of York's men, they were neither up nor down. And we can see in the book of Numbers, the Israelites are now out of Egypt, but they're not yet in the promised land. So they're neither here nor there. They're just wandering about in the desert. So in the book of Exodus, we saw the construction of the tabernacle. In the book of Leviticus, we saw the instructions about how to offer sacrifices in the temple. So now we're in the book of Numbers. So at the beginning of the book of Numbers, the temple is dedicated. People bring offerings. The leaders bring offerings. There's a lampstand where it has to be, the menorah. It has to be lit continuously. It must never run out. The oil must never run dry. We see the Levite tribes are dedicated. They are purified for the Lord. And they celebrate the Passover. So now in the book of Numbers, God is living within the camp. His tabernacle is in the middle where God resides with, the cloud and the fire above. And the tribes are around God's tabernacle. So God is now physically living in the camp with his people. He's in the middle. And he orders Moses how to arrange the tribes around him. I drew a diagram of this, so I hope you'll be able to see it. Now, this is God in the tabernacle here in the middle. And these are how the tribes have to be situated around. So we see here in the west, we have Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin. In the east, in the north, we have Naphtali, Asher, and Dan. Down here in the east, we have Zebulun, Issachar, and Judah. And over here in the south, we have Reuben, Simeon, and Gad. And that's how they are situated in the camp. And if you can see that, can you see an image of what that shows? Can you just see an image of the camp? See how God works, how he does his miraculous works. So that's the camp. That's how they are ordered for each tribe to live and put their tents, their camps and everything around God. So God orders Moses to count all the people from 20 years old and over. He wants to know, Moses should know, so that he knows how many fighting men he has. So, the name of the book is Numbers. So there's about 2 or 3 censuses in the book of Numbers. So Moses counts all the men from 20 years old and above, so that they will know how many men they have that can fight if there's a fight, and that they can train to be in the army. The tribe of Levi are not counted because their duty is different. They're not going to fight if there's a war. Their duty is to look after the tabernacle and ensure the work of the tabernacle is ongoing, and to look after the priests. So they were not counted. They belong to God. Now, where God's tabernacle is in the middle, there's always a cloud there. Each time the cloud leaves and moves, that's a sign for the people to pack up their tents and move. Anywhere where the cloud stops, that's a sign for the people to camp there. And it depends. They can be there for a year, they can be there for less, they can be there for longer. It depends on when God is on the move. Then all the people are on the move. So at this point now, they are still at Mount Sinai. They're there, camp there and everything. The firstborn sons are all counted. All the firstborn sons belong to God. Even the firstborn animals They belong to God. They are counted. And then the clans, each clan are given a duty. You see, there's order. God is a God of order, no confusion. So the clans are each given a duty. Some will cover the ark, some will take care of the equipment, some will work in God's tent. They're all given a duty. And if you remember also in the book of Nehemiah, when he was rebuilding the wall in Jerusalem, you see every tribe was given a portion. You build this side, you build this side, you build this side. So there is order. So even in our churches, everyone has got a role they play. Some are ushers, some are singers, some are preachers. Everyone's got a role. So all coming together, it blends it like making a pot of stew. You know, you put the onion, you put the tomato, you put the water, bring them all together, and then it all comes together and you have a delicious pot of stew. So they all have that. And then in the book of Numbers, there's another repeat of the laws. You know, the Levitical law. It doesn't hurt to repeat laws. It doesn't hurt to repeat rules so that people will not say that they forgot. There's a repeat of these laws. You know, when someone is unclean, the diseases, what they have to do. We saw all of that in the book of Leviticus, which I've taught. So you can go and look at that. So I won't dwell too much on it. I'll put the book of Leviticus at the end of this video so you can watch it. If you harm someone without knowing, by accident, there's a law of what you to do. If a wife is unfaithful, if a husband suspects that his wife is unfaithful, he doesn't know for sure, there's what they do. You know, there's a water the wife has to drink and swear an oath that she's never been unfaithful. If she hasn't been, the curse doesn't catch her. If she has been, the curse catches her. This is only if the man even suspects. He hasn't caught her red-handed, but he suspects. You know, and in a way, because I was reading, I was thinking, well, that's not fair. You know, because the Bible doesn't even say what if the man is unfaithful. What does the wife do if she suspects him being unfaithful? It's all about if the man suspects the wife is unfaithful. And then I thought, okay, throughout the Bible, you know, even in Ezra, in Nehemiah, even Zechariah talks about it. They don't want this mixed blood of children to pollute the holy seed. So in a way, I can understand, because they don't want the mixed seed. They don't want the holy seed to be mixed, to be impure. So if she's found to be faithful, you know, the curse doesn't catch her. And then there's also rules for the Nazarites. Some Nazarites are for life. Some are just a vow for a short while. They make this vow, you know, they want something from God. And there's the rules for the Nazarites. They cannot drink alcohol. They cannot eat grapes or dried grapes, raisins and stuff. They must not cut their hair. They must not touch a dead body. And as we know in the Bible, Samson, he did not follow any of these rules. He broke them all, you know. And when the vow is over, for those who are not permanent Nazarites, they can shave off all their hair and, you know, then do some purification and bring a sacrifice to the temple. And they have to put that hair that they cut off also on the altar to burn, you know. So a whole lot of things. And then God told Moses to tell Aaron about a priestly blessing, that he must always pronounce this blessing over the children of Israel, which is in Numbers 6, 22 to 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Amen. And then the cloud rises, so the people pack their tents and everything, and they go to Paran. So remember, they were in Sinai, now they're on the move, and they go to Paran. However, the people start complaining again, you know, there's no this, there's no that. They start mourning. God sends fire among the people. So the people now cry and shout out to Moses, Moses, help us, save us. Moses prays, and God stops the fire in the camp among the people. So no sooner has that one passed, the foreigners among the Israelites, because when they were leaving Egypt, it wasn't just Israelites who went out with them. There were some foreigners that went with them. They saw the power of God and they went with the Israelites. Now these foreigners started moaning and complaining and whining about the food. When we were in Egypt, we had this to eat, we had that to eat. Here in the desert, all we have to eat is manna, 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 manna. We're fed up. We want to go back to Egypt. Let's appoint a leader. Let's go back. And these foreigners mourning got the Israelites also mourning. If you have seen in a nursery where they put babies and they're all sleeping, no sooner is one baby crying, the next baby will cry, that one will cry, that one baby will set off all the babies in the nursery. So these foreigners set off all the Israelites. They also started mourning. So also in the church, it will be one person who will start complaining and whining. Before you know it, that one person can cause an uprising in the church, and everyone will just turn and say, yeah, it's true, yeah, it's true. But they never saw it until that one person brought it up. So they started complaining, and in a way, I do empathize with them, because they were saying that all they're having is manna, manna, manna. I think it's about a year now, and it's just manna. And I remember 2 years ago in the church I was at the time, the pastor put us all on a fast, a fruit fast. All we could have for that 2 weeks was fruit, nothing else, just fruit. After about 3-4 days, we were moaning, we were complaining. Oh, we're eating this fruit, I'm fed up of this banana, I never want to see another banana again in my life. We were all complaining and moaning and say, oh, we're missing our hot food. We wish this fast was over. That was just 2 weeks. So in a way, I do empathize with them, because if they're eating only manna for a year, you do want to change your diet. However, because I can't say, oh yeah, they should see the work that God is doing. He's done this, he's done that. If I was in that position, can I hand on heart say, I will not complain about eating manna every day for a year? Can I hand on heart say it? I don't think I can, because only fruits for 2 weeks, I was like, I'm fed up of bananas now. I just want rice. I want to eat rice. So they were complaining, and then so God was so vexed. He was so angry with them. He called Moses and said, let me just kill these people, and I will make of you a great nation. I'm just fed up. These 10 times they've been moaning and whining. Let me just destroy them all. And Moses intercedes for them and says, if you kill them, all the nations around here that have heard of what you've done, they will say it's because you were unsuccessful in taking them into the promised land. We're almost at the promised land now, and that's why you decided to kill them, to save face. So don't kill them. Then God says, okay, I won't kill them. If they want meat, they will eat meat. They want meat, they will eat meat. So no problem. And they will eat that meat. They mustn't complain that the meat is too much. They will eat it, and they will be sick. But they must eat it. So the next day, quails came, and the people went out, and they were packing the meat and drying it, and they were so happy. And even while they were eating the meat, the anger of God burned and slew so many of them. So many of them died because they were of their complaining and moaning, and God was so displeased, and so they died. But before then, because Moses said this work is too much for him, he can't handle all these people. They're not my children. I just don't know what to do with them. So God appoints 70 leaders to assist him, and the spirit of Moses went upon these 70. So they were appointed by God to help. So they came, and so they helped. So that's why a pastor cannot do it alone. He needs helpers in the church. However, I have seen a pastor who decided that she alone is going to do everything. This pastor comes, open up the door, sets up the church, collects the offering, counts the money, goes to bank the money, locks up the church, does everything. Like, doesn't trust anybody to run the church. you know, that person will soon burn out, and then that church will just die. So Moses needed assistance, God provided assistance, and everything started running smoothly. So then after this, despite the fact that people have died because of their displeasure, Miriam and Aaron, Moses' siblings, started complaining. They moaned about Moses because he married a foreign woman from Cush, and they did not approve of the wife, that she's a foreigner. So they complained and said, is he the only one that God is speaking to? You know, Miriam is a prophetess. God is speaking to us as well now. Is he the only one? So God heard their grumbling, their moaning, and called Aaron and Miriam and Moses to the tent. And God told them that you are not afraid. I don't speak to Moses how I speak to other prophets. Other prophets, I speak to them through visions, and I speak to them through dreams. Moses, I speak to him face to face, as a man to a man, and you dare talk about him behind his back, about my own chosen anointed. You spoke about him like that. So Miriam becomes a leper. Leprosy falls on her. Moses begs, God, please, no, don't do this, don't do this. He begs and intercedes. Then God says, okay, let her stay out of the camp for 7 days. If her father has spat in her face, she'll be unclean for 7 days. Let her stay out of the camp for 7 days, and then she'll be whole again. She'll be able to come back in. So then that's what happens. Obviously, they can't move. They all stay there waiting for Miriam to be healed of her prophet's leprosy. So she's outside. After that, and she's healed, she joins back. Then the people decide to send 12 spies into the land of Canaan to go and spy out the land that they are taking over, to check the people, to check everything about the land, how many people are there, and before they will now go in and take occupancy of the land. So they send out 12 spies who goes in for 40 days to spy out the land. So even when they were coming back, they brought a huge cluster of grapes, which was so heavy that it took 2 of the spies to carry it on a stake between them. If you see the logo of the Israel's Ministry of Tourism, if you check on Google, Israel's Ministry of Tourism, you will see that picture of 2 men carrying a huge cluster of grapes. So it came from this story in the book of Numbers. So they came back, and 10 of them brought a bad report to Moses and the people, that we cannot take the land. The people are like giants. They will squash us. We were tiny like this. We can't go in there. We are unable to fight them. We can't go in. 2 of the spies, Joshua and Caleb, said, no, we are able to take the land. Let's go in immediately. We are able to take it. But, bad news is much easier to believe than good. The people believed the bad news. They started crying and wailing. Moses has brought us into the desert to kill us. All our children were all going to die here. Was there no graves in Egypt? Is that why we have to go back to Egypt? We have to go back to Egypt. They were crying. They were wailing. God was mightily displeased. He said, see what these people are doing. 10 times now, they have moaned and grumbled and complained. Despite all what I have done for them, I am providing for them each step of the way since they left Egypt, and still they are not satisfied. They are not content. I am wiping them out. Moses begs, he pleads again. Then God says, okay, I have heard you, but all this generation, they are not going to enter the promised land. That their children, that they are saying that our children will die, those are the ones that will enter. So because of what they have done, the spies went to spy out the land for 40 days. So each day will now be a year. So they are going to wander around in the wilderness, in the desert for 40 years, until all this generation dies from age 20 and above. They will all die, and then I will now take their children into the promised land. So he now tells them that this is what he's going to do. And the 10 spies who came back with the bad report, God sent disease among them. They just died. They died because God was so angry with them that they were the ones who stirred up the people to complain. And now because of their report, they will not enter into the promised land. So they died. So out of the whole generation that came out of Egypt, it was only Joshua and Caleb who eventually made it into the promised land. But we shall see that later in the book of Deuteronomy. So when Moses now tells the people this is what's going to happen, they decide that okay, we are sorry, we repent, we're going to go and take the land. Come on, let's go and take it. Let's go. We are able to take the land. And Moses said, don't go. God is not with you, and you will be in rebellion. He said you should not go. You are not going into the promised land. Don't go. But they don't listen. So they decide to go. So they went there and they were pursued out. They were defeated. So they were unable to enter into the promised land. So we're going to stop here today. And then tomorrow we will continue and finish the book of Numbers. So I thank you for being with me so far on this journey. If you have enjoyed my teaching, you've enjoyed this series, consider subscribing so that each time when I upload another video, you just get a notification immediately via your email. Thank you so much. God bless you. Bye.